Hello, everybody, and welcome to 2023. Ready or not, we're here. I hope that you had a good holiday season, have hit the ground running in 2023, making some goals, getting some dreams down, and ready to do what God has called us to do. Welcome to Word of the Week with me, Zach Stanford, student pastor here at Bridge Church. We're going to dive right on in. I'm going to go to the book of Hosea and chapter 10 and verse 12. And it says this. It says, "Sow for yourselves righteousness, reap in mercy. Break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord, till he comes and rains righteousness on you." I want to talk about, for a moment, getting behind the plow. There's some things in us that God wants to do in 2023. There's some things that may have taken place in 2022 that shouldn't have, some decisions we made, some things that we did that we maybe should have done differently, whatever the case may be. Today I want to talk about the fallow ground. Fallow ground, if we were to define it, is ground that is uncultivated, untilled. It's ground that is wild. If you can picture for a moment a field that is full of thorns and thistles and weeds, just an overgrown field, something that nobody would look at, something that nobody would even pay attention to. But God is calling us, and I believe right here at the beginning of the year, to till the fallow ground. If fallow ground is very nutritious, it's very fertile. It's got very dark, rich soil. But the problem with that is you've got the thorns, you've got the thistle, you've got the weeds. And that requires of us a lot of work. And we've planted seed in other areas of our life. God has done great things in other parts of our lives up until this point. But what God is saying, just like in Hosea, is break up the fallow ground. I want to do something new, and it's going to be in the fallow ground, but it's going to require from you this day and in this season and perhaps this entire year to get this area of your life ready. An uncultivated part of your life, a part of your life that you've not paid much attention to, maybe a part of our life that we've ignored. Let's say relationships. Maybe we're not as good at communicating as we should be. Maybe it's a part of our spiritual life that we're really, maybe we ignored in 2022. Maybe it's our prayer life. Maybe we need to break up the fallow ground of our prayer life. Maybe we need to cultivate the fallow ground of personal prayer and solitude and silence this year. Maybe it's our worship and devotion time. Maybe in 2022 we started off great and we had a plan to read the Bible all the way through, but somewhere we lost track, we got off track, we just went into autopilot. And God is saying, yes, I sowed great seeds into you in years past. Even in 2022 was a great spiritual year for you. But what I want to do next is gonna happen in the fallow ground. And in order to do that, in order for me to sow those seeds, I need you to cultivate the fallow ground. And that's going to be hard. That's going to be tiresome. That's going to be very difficult. Why? Because the fallow ground is wild. Like I said, it's been ignored. It's been cast aside. It's been maybe a part of our life that's just been hard to face. Maybe it's unforgiveness. Maybe that fallow ground is somebody we need to forgive. Maybe that fallow ground is somebody this year that we need to apologize to seek forgiveness from. Maybe it's the hurt. Maybe it's the abuse. You know, there's so many places in the Bible that talk about this, but one that comes to mind is how God makes beauty from ashes. Yes, God is wanting to break up the fallow ground of your hurt and of your pain and turn it into something beautiful this year. Will you let Him do that? Will you allow God to sow a seed? Will you take the time in 2023 to break up the fallow ground, to get rid of the thorns? That brings us to Mark's gospel, where he talks about the seed that fell among the thorns and was choked out. There is a seed that God is wanting to place inside of you. And then in the second part of that verse in Hosea 10 and 12, it says that the Lord would rain down righteousness. Listen, He's not just going to plant the seed, but He's going to see it through. But it's going to take some work from you and me to break up that fallow ground. Get the hoe in your hand and go to town. Break that ground. Pull up those thorns. Put your gloves on and break up that fallow ground. And I believe this year we will not regret it, because the Lord wants to sow seeds in the fallow ground that we would reap a harvest unlike one we've ever seen before. Can we take the time to do that this year? I hope so. I'm going to endeavor to do that in my own life and in my own family and in our own ministries here at Bridge Church. I hope that this word of the week blesses you, and that this year is intentional, that you live intentionally this year. Be blessed.